Hello, I welcome you my YouTube channel Medicam and GPAT Guidance. In this video, I am just giving the brief idea about the classification of antibacterial drug. Now let's start the discussion regarding classification of antibacterial drug. Now let's talk about the chemical classification of antibacterial drug. So here the classification is based upon the lead nucleus present in the drug. That's why it is called as chemical classification of antibacterial drug. Now here, first sulfonamide and related drug. Example sulfadiazine and other sulfones, dapsone, etc. So it means it contains sulfonamide nucleus. Second category, diaminopyrimidine, trimethoprim example. So here the diaminopyrimidine, it's a heterocyclic which containing two amino, that is amino group as well as the heterocycle, so called as diaminopyrimidine. Third chemical classification, that is the quinolones, example nalidixic acid, norfloxacin, etc. Fourth category, beta-lactam antibiotic, which contain beta-lactam as a lead nucleus, which contain penicillin as example, cephalosporin, monobactam, etc. Fifth one is tetracycline, example is oxytetracycline, doxycycline, etc. So tetracycline, it means it contains 4 cyclic rings. Now the sixth one is nitrobenzene derivative. Example is chloramphenicol. So nitrobenzene straightforward. So benzene containing nitro group. Seventh category, aminoglycosides. Example is streptomycin and gentamicin, which is a used structure. Then macrolide antibiotics. So as name indicates, macro, so it is used in structure, that is erythromycin and roxithromycin. Lincosamide antibiotics, example lincomycin and clindamycin. The last one, that is 10th one, not last one, 10th one, that is glycopeptides. So it is a peptide linkage like, so vancomycin and teicoplanin. Now let's do remaining chemical classification, that is 11th one, oxazolidine. Oxazolidine. So linezolid is the example. The 12th one is polypeptide antibiotics. So polypeptide, so many peptide chain, that is called as polymyxin, polymyxin B and colistin. Then next 13 one is nitrofuran derivative, 14 is nitroimidazole, and 15 classification, that is nicotinic acid derivative, example is isoniazid. So this is the way of the classification of antibacterial drug on the basis of the lead nucleus present in the drug. Now let's see the another way of classification, that is the classification is based upon a mechanism of action, right? So in one video of my channel, that is related with the mechanism of action shown by the antibacterial agent. So here the classification is based upon the mechanism of action. Now let's see. First one, that is inhibit cell wall synthesis. So example is penicillin, cephalosporin, cyclosporin, vancomycin and bacitracin. So it means that this example shows mechanism of action, that is it inhibit cell wall synthesis. Now second, which causes leakage from cell membrane. The example is polypeptide, polymyxin, colistin and bacitracin. Third one is very important one, inhibit protein synthesis. Now let's see the example. Tetracycline, chloramphenicol, erythromycin, clindamycin, linezolid. So they are the example which inhibit or which show the mechanism of action, that is inhibition of protein synthesis. Now let's see the remaining one. Fourth one, that is causes misreading of messenger RNA code and affect permeability. Example is aminoglycoside. In aminoglycoside, specifically streptomycin and gentamicin. Here, this example or this drug which just misread the messenger RNA code and affect the permeability. Fifth one, inhibit DNA gyrase. Straightforward example is fluoroquinolones. Example is ciprofloxacin. This is the only one category which inhibit the DNA gyrase. Sixth one, interfere with DNA function. Example, rifampin and metronidazole. Seventh one, interfere with the intermediary metabolism. That is sulfonamide, that is PABA synthesis. Then sulfone, PAS, trimethoprim and ethambutol. So these are the example which can disturb the intermediate metabolism process. So these are the classification is totally based upon the mechanism of action. So this is a very usual and useful way to summarize the drug on the basis of the mechanism of action. Now let's see the classification one by one in each category. First is sulfonamide. So this sulfonamide, first three categories is categorized on the basis of the supposed to say like that pharmacokinetic action, that is the duration of action. For example, long acting, short acting, or intermediate acting. So totally depends upon the pharmacokinetic. So short acting showing the action 4 to 8 hours, that is sulfadiazine, right? Then intermediate acting 8 to 12 hours, sulfomethoxazole. Long acting 7 days, lasts longer for 7 days, that is sulfadoxine, then sulfamethoxyrazine. And the fourth one is a different kind of classification, that is special purpose. Sometimes the sulfonamide may be useful for skin purpose, for ophthalmic purpose, likewise. That's why it is called as special purpose sulfonamide. Example, sulfacetamide sodium, then sulfasalazine, mefenide, and then silver sulfadiazine. So special purpose, it here indicate its application. Specifically, it indicates its use, specific use. So this is about sulfonamide. Now let's move towards next category, that is quinolones. Here, quinolone categorized into first generation, second generation, and third generation. The most important thing is the first category, that is non-fluorinated quinolones. It means that example is nalidixic acid. So nalidixic acid doesn't contain fluorine, and rest of the quinolones contain fluorines. That's why it is called as non-fluorinated quinolones. Example is nalidixic acid. Now first generation, second generation, and third generation depends upon their development. They are categorized. In first generation, that is norfloxacin, ofloxacin, ciprofloxacin, and pafloxacin. In second generation, levofloxacin, leofloxacin, sparfloxacin, catifloxacin, and moxifloxacin. And in third generation, that is gamifloxacin and prolifloxacin. So this is about the classification regarding quinolones. Now let's talk about beta-lactam antibiotics. Here first of all we are just discuss about penicillin. First A category, that is natural penicillin, benzyl penicillin, which is obtained from natural source, so called as natural penicillin. B, semi-synthetic penicillin. It means that natural plus the synthetic way, so called as semi-synthetic way. Again, it is categorized into three categories. That is first, acid resistant alternative to penicillin G. Example, phenoxymethyl penicillin. So it means that penicillin V is substitute, or it is a so what do you call the alternative arrangement for penicillin G. Then second, penicillase resistant penicillin. So these are the examples which can affect the penicillase enzyme. So also called as penicillase resistant penicillin. Example, methicillin and cloxacillin. Then third one is extended spectrum penicillin. It means it have broad spectrum or extended activity. Here again it categorizes into three subtype. A, that is aminopenicillin. Example, ampicillin, decampicillin, and amoxicillin. B, carboxypenicillin, carbacillin, then ticaricillin. Then uridopenicillin, that is piperacillin and meslocillin. So these are the three subtype of extended spectrum penicillin. And the C category, that is beta-lactamase inhibitor. We already know this beta-lactamase enzyme develop the resistance again, or show the resistance again antibiotics. So these are the agents which can treat this beta-lactamase enzyme. So example is clavonic acid, sulbactam, and tazobactam. So this is all about the classification regarding penicillin. Now let's talk about beta-lactam antibiotics, specifically cephalosporin. Again, it is categorized into four different generations: first generation, second generation, third generation, and fourth generation. Again, first generation divided into two categories: parenteral and oral. In parenteral, that is cephalothin, cefazolin, and in oral, cefalexin, cephadrin, and cefatroxim. In second generation, parenteral, that is cefuroxime, right? Then cefoxitin, and in oral, cephalocor, chlor, then cefuroxime, acetyl, and that is cefrozil. That is comes under oral second generation. Now in third generation, that is parenteral, cefotaxime, ceftriaxone, then ceftriaxone, then that is ceftazidime, then cefoperazone, and in oral, that is cefixime, cepadoxime, proxtil, then cefdinir, then ceftibutane, then the ceftamide paoxil. And in fourth generation, only parenteral is available, that is cefepime and cefpirone. So these are about the cephalosporin. Now let's see the next category, that is aminoglycoside antibiotics. Here they are again divided into two categories. First one is systemic aminoglycosides. It means they directly enter into systemic circulation. For example, streptomycin, gentamicin, kanamycin, tobramycin, amikacin, sisomycin, and netilmycin. When we talk about topical aminoglycoside, that is neomycin and framycin. So these are about aminoglycoside. Now let's see about tetracycline. They have given direct examples, that is oxytetracycline, tetracycline, domeclocycline, that is doxycycline, and minocycline. So this is all about the classification regarding antibacterial agents. So thank you for watching this video.